All right. So last week we had our Speaker Pathways to Profit workshop. So 5 days of training. We focused on mindset. We've talked about positioning. We talked about prospecting and pitching and monetizing your expertise. And we also opened cart for the new cohort of our Thought Leader Circle program. So you can still register, you can still apply to come into Thought Leader Circle. That's our 12-month program. And all you got to do is go to applyfortlc.com. Hey, Keisha, go to applyfortlc.com and you can apply to come into that program. But oh, and if you need the replays, they are available until Tuesday. So tomorrow night at 11:59 p.m. Same thing with the application for Thought Leader Circle is open until tomorrow night at 11:59 p.m. If you need the replays, drop the word replay in the comments and I will make sure that I get that to you. But what I want to talk about today is I want to give you some more information. We want to talk about how you really get, this is called the Six-Figure Speaker Masterclass. And I want to show you some things about how you really get to that space of becoming a six-figure speaker. And also stay on because at the end, I am going to officially launch a new exciting opportunity for you because I know that there are a lot of you who are thinking about Thought Leader Circle, but maybe the time frame is too long. Maybe you just can't make that investment right this minute. But I still want to make sure that you have what you need to move forward because what happens is we get excited, we get in the space, we know that this is what we want to do, something stops us, and then that momentum goes away completely. So what I want to do is to help you to keep that momentum going. And so at the end, I am going to invite you into a new offer, which is going to jumpstart everything that you need to do and have the pathway to come into Thought Leaders Circle. So stay on. But what we're going to talk about for the 2 days, so today and tomorrow, both at 12 p.m., starting at 12, I want to really talk to you about your signature talk, because this is really the important piece I think that so many of you are missing. So when we talk about positioning, as we did in Speaker Pathways to Profit, part of the positioning is having your signature message. You can call it a signature talk, you can call it a signature presentation, you can call it a signature message. What it is not is a signature story. So we'll talk about that too. So today what we're going to be talking about is like uncovering your message, knowing your audience, and kind of the structure of your talk. And then tomorrow, what we're going to talk about is how you really craft that clear message, like really being clear around that, your actual presentation, so the presentation skills, and then amplifying your reach, right? So that's where we're going to be focused inside of this masterclass. And I will be on here for about 45 minutes to an hour, but remember, stay to the end so you can learn about the new offer. So let's level set for a second and talk about the difference between a signature talk and a signature story. Many of you have seen coaches who are excellent coaches, right? Who are storytellers and teach storytelling. And what they talk to you about is your signature story. Many of you have been told that you have a great story and you have a story to tell, or you feel in your own soul that you have a story to tell and you want to go out and you want to get paid and make money for that. Here's the thing though. When you're talking about getting on conference stages, like for associations or companies, or you're trying to get corporate contracts, so private corporate contracts, or you're trying to get government contracts, they're not interested in your story, right? What they are looking for is how to solve problems. The reason we have conferences is because there are problems in organizations that they're trying to solve, right? Conferences have themes, and those themes are usually around what is the issue of the day, right? What is coming up in these organizations? What do we have? What do we keep hearing, having questions about? What are people complaining about? What is happening out in the world? And those conferences then take that on as their theme and then they look for speakers who can help to provide information to the audience around those themes. Those themes are not your stories. They're not your story about getting fired. They're not your story about divorce. They're not your story about domestic violence, unless that's the specific type of conference. But even in those conferences, they're not just looking for you to, tell all of your story and the trauma of your story. What they're looking for is, how can you help our people who may be experiencing that move through that to where it is that they want to go, which is their desire and transformation. And what is the unique way that you're going to do that, right? So that's what they're looking for. So when you're being taught about your story, it is great to learn how to tell a story. Right? It's great to learn how to be a storyteller. However, that's not the thing that is going to get you paid. So even when you see some of the speakers out here that you all think, that attach, you would align with being the gurus or the very best speakers, they're not just telling their story. If you pay attention, right? If you really understand the structure of signature talks and messages, and you pay attention, you'll see that their story is woven into a much broader message, right? They're not telling you their story from beginning to end. Most of them are not. Now, there are people who that's what they do, right? There are motivational speakers, all of that. And if that's what you want to do, then that's a different category of speaking. But for most of you, especially the women who work with me, you're looking for how to leverage your expertise. So let me just take a pause for a second. For anybody who is new to me and has not met me before, and you're like, who's this chick on here talking? Now, most of you probably do know who I am because you're in my group, but when I put this on replay, people may not. So I'm Kelly Charles Collins. I'm affectionately known as the Speaker Mogul. I'm the CEO of HR Legally Speaking, which is a boutique training and speaking company. So in that capacity, I'm a professional speaker. I work with companies. They hire me to help their organizations build conversational cultures and also to elevate and, understand how to leverage public speaking as a growth strategy. As the CEO of Speaker Moguls, I work with women experts, speakers, coaches, consultants, professional service providers, so like attorneys, doctors, accountants, to position, package, and present their expertise in the world and workplaces to create impact, influence, and income so they can live the life they desire and deserve. And the way that we do that is through our P6 framework and in our Thought Leader Circle program, which we talked a lot about last week in our Speaker Pathways to Profit workshop. But one of the things that we do, right, when we start inside of Thought Leader Circle is we work on your signature talk. The other things about me, a couple other things about me, my brain just like scattered for a minute. A couple of things about me. I'm a retired employment law trial attorney, so I practiced law for over 2 decades. I'm a 5-time author. And what else am I? I'm an award-winning TEDx speaker and a keynote speaker. So if you want to know anything else about me, go to kellycharlescollins.com. You can find it all there. But hey, so let's get back to this whole thing around your signature talk, signature story. So signature story is a piece of your signature talk, but it is not the thing that is going to get you paid. It is not the thing that's going to get you the 5 and the 6-figure and 7-figure contracts. If what you do is go to a corporation and say, hey, I want to talk to you about, that time that I got fired. They don't care about that, right? So what we have to focus on is the signature talk or the signature presentation. And the reason I say signature talk or signature presentation is because some of you might be thinking, well, I'm not a keynote speaker, so I don't need a signature talk. I'm a trainer. I need a signature presentation. Let me just button that up for you. It's the same thing. It's the same thing, right? So one of the conversations that I've been having a lot over the past couple of months, which I just find really interesting, is that women keep telling me that they're not speakers. And look, what do you mean you're not a speaker? I'm like, haven't you been training? Haven't you been doing all this stuff? Yeah, but I'm not a speaker, because people have equated speaker with just being a keynote speaker. So let me disabuse you of that notion. And if you are training, if you are consulting, if you are on this, you're a speaker, right? So you are a speaker, but keynote speaking is one method of delivering speaking, right? Training or workshops or breakout sessions, however you want to call those. That's another method of delivery. Consulting, right? When you're consulting with that's a method of delivery. So we all speak, right? Not everybody speaks as a professional speaker, but as a professional speaker, there are modes of delivery, keynotes being one of them, training workshops, breakouts being another, being on podcast interviews is another way, being on media, television, that's another way. Here, me doing this live, that's speaking, right? So I want you to not discount what you're doing. It's just delivery methods, right? Those are delivery methods. So whether you call it a signature talk or signature presentation, it's the thing that allows you to elevate your authority and be known for your expertise, right? And so that's what we need to focus on. So when we work with our clients in thought leader circle, the first thing that we do is make sure that they have their signature talk, because that is the springboard for everything else, right? And it's the way that we teach how to develop your signature talk is a is a detailed, and I mean detailed process. It is nothing like you have ever experienced. And the reason that I developed, my sister and I developed the process for it, the reason that we decided to do it that way is because coming into this professional speaking business and industry, I started to see and understand, okay, this is what they're looking for. This is what I need. This is what I need to have. And so in order to not create things over and over and over again, we created a process where everything is developed inside of what we call our signature talk black print, and it becomes the thing that you use for everything. It is the thing that you use to deliver your talk. It is the thing that you use to have sales conversations. It's the thing that you use to create your content so that you can elevate your authority. It is the thing that you use so that you can go respond to all of those call for speakers, call for presentations, RFPs. It is your foundation. It is your thing, right? So you have to have a signature talk or a signature presentation if your desire is to become a six-figure speaker, right? Even a five-figure speaker. If you want somebody to be paying you $10,000 or more, you have to have a signature talk. So where do we run afoul? Like what happens where, why we don't have these talks and why we're not making this money? We're not making this money because we haven't really sat down to think about what is my true expertise, right? And so when you're thinking about your message and you think about what it is that you want to create in the world, when we talk about positioning, who you are, who you want to be, what you want to create in the world, who do you want to create it for? Like, what are the problems that you solve and who do you solve them for? How do you solve those problems uniquely? All of those things go inside of your message. However, we got to step back for a second and figure out, if we decide that this is the message that we want to put out into the world, one of the things we have to do, and we work with our clients to do, is uncover why, right? So often we're like, oh, I want to speak about this, and this is my topic, but why? Why? And a lot of it is because, well, that's what I've done forever. That's what I've done in my life. That's what I've done that's what I've experienced. That's what my personal experience is. That's what my professional experience is. And so we've decided that that's what we're going to talk about. Well, it's not always the thing. So I'll give you an example. Me. So I told you that I was a practicing lawyer for over 2 decades. Well, my area of expertise in the last part of my practice was employment law. So I represented organizations in cases when they had discrimination, retaliation, harassment, wage and hour claims, anything to do with employer-employee relationships, right? So there's lots of things that I can speak about. However, when I came out into this realm of full-time entrepreneurship as a professional speaker, I had to decide, like, is that really what I want to do? Like, do I want to pull all of that with me here? And in the beginning, I did. I was like, oh, I got all these topics that I want to speak about because I could speak about them. Not because I necessarily wanted to speak about them or that I had any real connection to them, except for that's what I did every single day in my daily life. Right. And many of you, that's where you're going with these things that you want, that you say that you want to speak about, but there's no real attachment. And there has to be an attachment and there has to be a connection to your why. You have to be able to explain, like, why is this so important to you? Because if you can't get to that level of understanding around why this topic is so important to you, other than, well, I've been doing it for 20 years, I've been doing it for 30 years, then you'll never get to the level of being able to explain to somebody why they should care enough to pay you for it. Right? And that's where we need to be, because the money in speaking resides at the level of why. Why do you want to speak about this? Why do you care so much about this? And why should anybody else care enough to want to pay you? Right? So that's the first thing that we do when we're talking about uncovering your message, is like really hone in on your why. And we spend a lot of time doing that because it's vitally important to ensuring that the message that you then end up delivering is your message. It is your authentic message that nobody can Google, that nobody can chat GPT, that nobody can all the other AI stuff that's out there, because it's only from you, right? And it's because of what you feel and what you care about that you're going to deliver the message in this way. So we start with making sure that we uncover your why, right? Also, inside of that, now, when you're thinking about, okay, well, what are my professional and personal experiences? Because I'm not telling you to leave that alone, right? So I was saying, these are things that I could talk about. They're not things that I wanted to talk about. So how do we get to that point? How do we figure out, okay, Kelly, what's the difference between what I can and what I should, right? And what you want to look at, again, is your why. And also, when you think about what you used to do in your profession or what you still do, think about how can you leverage the information, like leverage the skills that you've learned, leverage the information that you've learned, leverage the experiences that you've had or that maybe your clients have had, and do that in a way and deliver that in a way that really creates an impact for other people, but may not be just a one-to-one correlation. This is what I mean. So I told you, right? Discrimination, harassment, retaliation, all of those things. That's my area of expertise. But I didn't want to talk about that. But I do know from practicing law and from trying these cases that there are things that are underlying, right, that happen in organizations that cause this outcome, that cause the discrimination claims, that cause the harassment claims, that cause the retaliation claims. And what I know is that that's more tied to people's behavior, right? And the way people think and the way people see each other. So for me, as I started thinking about, okay, I don't want to speak about those things, but I also don't want to go speak about something random. How do I leverage my profession, which was lawyer, right? Trial lawyer, employment trial lawyer, to pursue my purpose, which was to create a bigger impact in the world and ensure that people's voices were heard, that people were seen, that people were valued, right? That people were held accountable and were accountable. So I had to think about that. So I know that people's biases are the things that come into play. And before we even get to the level of discrimination, which is intentional, there's just things that we do every single day, right, out in the world, unintentionally, because of things that we've heard, read, seen, and experienced in life that cause us to make decisions that impact other people, right? And so I was thinking about that. So if you think about what bias in the world of speaking, people lump that into, which it is rightfully a part of diversity and inclusion. However, I realized in the time that I started this, so this is 2020, that there were a lot of diversity and inclusion speakers, right? And I didn't want to get lumped in. I did not want to get lumped into that space. And I also didn't want to talk about the business case of diversity, right? I didn't want to talk about the numbers. That just didn't do anything for me. What did something for me is like talking to people and saying, hey, if you ever thought about this, if you look at this, if you see this, this is kind of what's happening in your world and why, and the impact that it's causing. So I focused on unconscious bias. Now, if you think about it, you're thinking employment law, unconscious bias, they are related, they align, and I can use all of my personal and professional expertise in my 20-something years as an employment lawyer to talk about unconscious bias. It gives me a level of expertise that other people do not have. It gives me a frame of reference and a way of thinking about things from a legal perspective, from a risk perspective that other people don't have. So one of the things that you need to start doing is think about what is it in my background, not necessarily a one-to-one correlation, but what is in my background? What do I understand? What are the skill sets? Right, being a lawyer taught me how to think, didn't teach me how to practice law, but I'm a damn good trial lawyer, right? But also as a trial lawyer, all the skills, having to talk to juries, that's why I do what I do now. And that's why I'm good at what I'm doing now in terms of helping other people speak. I understand how to communicate, right? I understand how to communicate to different people. So there's all these skills that we learn that we often, forget about, right? We don't think about it as we're making these transitions and understanding that, yes, we can take all of those things, we can package it differently and really start to talk about and speak about the things that really, really move the needle for us, right? Things that when we wake up in the morning, we're like, yep, I want to get up today and do this because this is going to create the impact in the world that I'm trying to create, okay? So we have to figure out, we have to really understand our why, and then we have to get to our true level of expertise. And your true level of expertise is something that you know deep and not wide. Many of you, if somebody says, hey, we need a speaker, you'll just go out and speak about anything. Oh, what you want me to speak about? Oh, I could do that because you could go look it up. You're bright, you're brilliant, right? You're smart people. That's not what you want to do. You want to figure out exactly what your expertise is, and you want to be able to sit in that comfortably and powerfully and take that, look at the problems that you want to solve, think about how you can solve them uniquely, and then create the message. And that's the thing that you're going to sell, right? You're going to sell that message of transformation to the particular people who have the problems that you want to solve, right? So you have to understand that. Now, remember we said signature story is not signature talk, but it doesn't mean that you just abandon your story. You do not abandon your story. When you develop your message and you understand the lessons that you're trying to impart, the impact that you're trying to create, the problems that you're solving, and the transformation that your audience is seeking, then you can decide what stories are relevant. Because the story that you've been telling every day, every week, every month, all these years to all these people may very well not be the story. Right? So we do this with our clients all the time and they think it's like this story. No, it's not that story. No, we got to think about something else, right? Because that's not the story that actually is going to get across the lesson that you're trying to get across. And the other thing about the story is that it's not the whole story. It's not from beginning to end. It's not every dirty detail. It's not any of that. What it is what we call the 3 R's. What is riveting, relatable, and relevant. Those are the only pieces of the story that make it into the signature talk. Now, there could be multiple stories that make it in, or it could be a story that we take on the journey through the talk, but it's not the entire, even if we take it on the journey through the talk, it's not the entire story, right? It's only the pieces that are relevant, riveting, and relatable, because those are the things that are going to help you to amplify, illustrate, and clarify. That is the purpose of your story, to amplify, illustrate, and clarify. So when we're helping you to develop your signature talk, those are the things that we work with you on to really identify what are those specific stories so that you can create the impact that you're trying to create. Remember, as a speaker on stage, it is not about you. It is not about you. It has nothing to do with you. You are the vessel, right? You have a responsibility to the people in the audience. Many people, I won't say many people, but people like to get on stage and like, oh, I got standing ovation. That's great, right? We love standing ovations, but did you transform somebody? Did you create a shift in their perspectives? So one of the things inside of Speaker Mogul is that we have frameworks upon frameworks. And one of the other frameworks that is embedded in how we develop talks is what we call our ITS framework, meaning that your talk should create intrigue, it should transform your audience, and it should shift perspectives. If it doesn't do those three things, it's a nice story. People aren't paying you for a nice story. They're paying you for transformation. They're paying you for shifted perspectives. So when you're developing these talks, you have to build that in if your desire is to be a 5-figure, 6-figure speaker. Okay. So we talked about uncovering your message, talking about uncovering your why. We talked about pinpointing your expertise. So like really getting into your expertise, talking about identifying the impact. So understanding what their problems are, what their desired transformation is, and how are you going to be the bridge. So one of the things we also work with our clients on in determining how you're the bridge and what is your unique solution is to create what we call your unique mechanism. So your unique mechanism is your framework, your process, your system, your methodology. It's the way you do what you do. And the way that you do what you do, the only way that you can do it, right? It's not what you read somewhere. It's not what you took somebody's other things for. It's how you know in your heart of hearts from your expertise how to solve the problems of your ideal client, right? So that's the first part that I want to talk to you about today, which is just around uncovering your message. Now, I want you to know that this is like very high level. There's so many things that come into that. So when we talk about the signature talk blueprint, there's actually 4 phases. Foundation is the first phase. And in foundation, many of the things that I just talked to you about is what we will do in foundation, right? Uncovering your why, identifying your clients, what are your clients' problems, all the things inside of there. We do that inside of the foundation piece of developing your talk. Now, another part of this is we got to know our audience. So we have our message, but we have to know who our audience is. One of the things that I teach is the difference between a paying audience and a consuming audience. Oftentimes, we're speaking to the wrong people. Oftentimes, when we're trying to get paid, so let me add that. When we're trying to get paid, we're speaking to the wrong people. Our messaging, our content is speaking to the wrong people. Our content is often speaking to our consuming audience, the people we're trying to shift, the people that we're trying to transform. The issue, however, is that they're not the people who are paying you, right? Often they're not. So let me make the distinction. If you're in the corporate space, if you're in like conference spaces, right? You want to be in conference stages, your paying audience and your consuming audience are different people. Meaning that when you're having the conversation about how you get on the stage or having the conversation about how you get in front of the employees, the person that you're speaking to is a paying audience person. Now, yes, they can be your consuming audience too, but in this particular conversation, in this sales conversation, they are your paying audience, right? So when you're speaking to your paying audience, what are they concerned about? They're concerned about like the high level problems, right? And so in corporations, they always want to know, can you save me time? Can you save me money? Can you get my, what you're going to do for my bottom line? All of those things. They're interested in bottom line issues, right? Retention, innovation, attracting employees, productivity. That's what they're interested in. If you don't understand that, and if you have not built your talk to be able to address those problems, then that conversation is going to fall flat because they're going to realize that you don't know them. You don't know your audience, right? Because what we often do is start talking about what we're going to do for the consuming audience. The consuming audience has a set of problems too. Sometimes those problems are aligned, often they are not. Often it's cause and effect, right? In terms of consuming audience and paying audience. And so you have to understand that so that you can speak to both, because you have to be able to speak to both the paying audience and the consuming audience issues in the sales conversation. And then you have to make sure that the talk is built so that when you're delivering the talk, that the outcome that the paying audience wants to get is going to happen as a result of the journey that you take the consuming audience on, right? So these are all things, again, about knowing your audience that we build in. It's not just about getting up in front of people and speaking. It's not. The other thing is, so that's when you have the separate paying and consuming audience. Now, if you have just your paying and consuming audience could be the same person. So if you are a coach, for example, likely your client is both paying and consuming. So for example, when I launch, our new offer today, and I speak to you all individually, you're paying and consuming. If you have a coaching program, mentoring program, retreat, masterclass, whatever it is that you do, that's a paying and consuming audience. What you have to understand is that you still have to understand both things, because the person, the part of the brain that's like, I'm making that investment, or what? How much did that cost? As opposed to the person over the consuming audience who's like, yes, 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 I want to be on stage. I mean, I want to be in that program. They may have different, you may have to speak to those people, right? Those parts of that person differently. So you have to understand that inside of every one of these conversations, there is a paying and consuming audience. One might be that it's the same person, and the other may be that there are different people, right? So understanding your audience, and there's such a value in that, right? There's such value in understanding that distinction, and even more value when you have built a talk that already addresses those issues. So now you don't have to be thinking about anything. The great thing about the way that we've developed the Signature Talk Black Print is that once you're done, once you've developed this, you don't have to be thinking. You don't have to be, if you see a request for proposal, or call for speakers, or call for presentations, and they're asking you for all the stuff that they asked for, they want to know learning objectives and abstracts and your talk title and all the things, you have it already because it's built that way. The talk is built that way. It is built to give you exactly all of that information, because I know that that's what they're looking for, right? It's all inside of your talk. So the other thing that you have to do, and we talked about this a little bit, well, not a little bit, we talked about this when we did the Speaker Pathways to Profit workshop, is around creating connection. And what I was explaining is that when you are just a speaker, right, you just give content. You ever hear people, just out there just giving content. It's stuff you've heard before that you could Google, that you could find anywhere. Then you hear experts speaking, and they're giving you a little bit more information, and they're giving you some context around that content, right? They're interpreting. It's not the same old, same old. And then you hear a thought leader speak. And a thought leader really gets you connected to the why. Why is this important? Why should you understand this? Why should you continue on this journey with me? Why should you get out of your current state and do the things that you need to do to get to your desired state, right? This is understanding. You have to really understand your audience and understand your expertise, understand your client's problems, understand the desired transformation they're seeking, and have a unique way of getting them there. When you get all of those things together, then you're able to make the desired connection. You're able to make the connection that pulls people in. If you think about your own self, when you're listening to people speak to you, there's some people they can be saying whatever they want to say, and you're just like, I'm not going to do it. Then you'll go to somebody else and they'll say the exact same thing. And you're jumping up and ready to do whatever it is that they say. Why? Because they have made a connection to you, right? They have pulled you in. They have given you a reason to want to do something different than what you normally do. And so this is what you have to do in understanding and knowing your audience, knowing when to take that signature talk and shift out the stories. Right. So I've spoken to many speakers who tell me that, oh, they just create presentations like every time. No, we ain't doing that. We're not doing that. We're creating a message because that's the only message. That's your message, right? This is the thing that you want to be known for. What you then do is switch out stories. You switch out examples. This is how you customize to your particular audience. So you have to know the audience that you're speaking to, right? So my clients, they do this, right? They understand like, oh, if I'm over here speaking to, lawyers, oh, I need to use these lawyerly, examples or words. If I'm over here, I'm speaking to another, I may need to use, I do that, right? Within my own speaking. If I'm speaking to lawyers, because I'm a lawyer, then I can use legalese. I can use my experiences because I understand them. I am them, right? So there's a different level of connection. When I'm speaking to HR professionals, I'm a lawyer who did HR, right? So I still, again, have that connection at a different level, right? So I wasn't inside of HR, but I understand HR. Again, the connection. So we're always trying to figure out what is this connection to our audience, and that is vitally important. The last part that I want to talk about today, before I invite you to continue this journey with me beyond tomorrow, is the structure of your talk. The structure of your talk is extremely important. Now, I know that, like when we were in school, they teach you like you have your opening paragraph and then you have your 3, points, and then you have your closing paragraph. In essence, yes, that's what a talk looks like, right? However, there's a way to develop those pieces that it's not just like, hey, I just opened up. Now I'm just going to tell you these 3 things and go. The 3 things, or the meat and potatoes of your talk, are built around your client. They're not built around what you want to say out in the world. They're built around your clients, your paying audience, and your consuming audience, right? So when we help you to develop your talk, the second phase of the signature talk black print is called the black print. So this is where we actually outline your talk and we look at all of the things related to your client that we have developed in the foundation to ensure that we have the evidence, right? So I'm a lawyer, have the evidence and the information that you need to support what it is that you've told them that you're going to talk to them about. Right. And so we develop that inside of the black print, really outlining where it is that you need to take your clients on their journey. This is what we do inside of the black print. So when we're structuring your talk, it's structured in a very specific way. It's also structured in that way so that it allows you to remember it. So how many of you are out here like, "Ooh, I got to memorize this talk," or trying to memorize a talk? First, stop doing that. Don't memorize the talk. You memorize a talk, it takes you out of being present, right? So when you're talking to your audience, you're trying to remember what you're supposed to say. So you're not present with them and they can feel that. So stop trying to memorize your talk. The way that we build your talk, one, because going back to the first part where I was talking about it's based on your why and your true level of expertise, you don't have to remember it. You don't have to memorize it because it's in you. It is who you are. It is exactly what you want to do in the world and speak about. So you don't have to memorize it because it's just part of who you are. Excuse me, right? So we help you to really structure that as we go forward in your talk to make sure that not only are you taking them on a journey, but again, that you're creating this intrigue, that inside of it, you're transforming them. So transforming them from where they are, current state, to where they want to go, desired state. And it's important where they want to go, not where you want to go or where you want to take them, where they want to go, right? That is the structure of the talk. And then inside of that, and again, we have a framework about how to do all this too, but inside of that, then how do you use your own unique mechanism to get them to that point? So tomorrow, we're going to be talking more about your talk and talking about just really keeping it simple, right? How to present it in a way that is authentic to you and then just amplifying your reach. So again, if you go back, if you're just jumping on right now, go back because this has been a lot of information. We're talking about developing your signature talk, which is the thing that is going to get you to those 5, 6, 7-figure paydays. Anybody who's out here in this business making money like that has a signature talk or presentation, right? So today we talked about uncovering your unique message, knowing your audience, and structuring your talk. So go back and listen to that. And so what I'd like to do now is to invite you to not just sit and listen to me for the next 2 days about your signature talk and how to structure it and what should be in it, and actually come craft your signature talk with me. So many of you, again, you keep saying that you want to get paid to speak, but we're not doing the things that we need to do. So here's your opportunity. And again, I know that many of you are not ready for thought leader circles. So we have been thinking about how do we get you into the space and get you ready to come into the thought leader circle, where we will do all the things with regards to our P6 framework to really get you to the desired level that you want to be. But we know that it starts with this. It starts with having your signature talk. So we have created what we call the lab, Signature Talk Experience. And the lab is a 90-day program where we will work with you to craft your signature talk. So within the first 45 days, right? So halfway through the program, and could be sooner than that, excuse me, but within at least the first 30 to 45 days, you will have your talk crafted. So we will work with you to do that. We will have 3 live sessions, live virtual sessions, where we will walk through the signature talk black print with you. Now, on the back end of that, we have developed, again, the black print has all of these different, they have all the different phases inside, right? And inside of each phase, so phase 1 is foundation, phase 2 is black print, phase 3 is construction, phase 4 is signature. Inside of all of those, each one has different levels, right? It has different steps. What we've done is we have recorded the process for you. So you will get access to the videos, which one by one goes through every single process, every single piece of the Signature Talk black print to help you to develop your talk. But we're not going to leave you hanging. So that's why we have the 3 live virtual events where you will come and then we will work with you. So after you worked through certain pieces of your talk, by going through DIY basically and going through the video, and it's actually not DIY because I'm doing it with you because I'm recording it and telling you exactly what to do, then you will come live virtually and we will work through and make sure that you understand and that you have exactly what you need. So there will be one day that we'll be doing your foundation and going over your foundation. So that'll be a full day. And then there will be a weekend where, and again, this is virtual, a weekend where we will go over the remainder of it. And so we'll give you those dates, but it's a 90-day program. And then in addition, so you'll have all of the recordings, you'll have the framework for you to be able to do that. We actually just developed another piece of the framework that we're going to add on to the end of the black print. So you'll get that too. So that's a new piece that you will also get. And this is the exact, it's not a piece of, it's not what we used to do. This is the exact framework that I use and that I've used to develop my talks that get me 5 figures and has gotten me at least one 6-figure contract. And it is the exact same thing that I use with my clients and Thought Leader Circle to develop their talk. So you're not getting something that's old. You're not getting something that has been. The purpose of us doing the lab is to get you prepared to come into Thought Leader Circle. So it wouldn't make sense for me to do that. So whatever is current is that's what you have in order to get your talk done. We will also have bi-weekly Q&A sessions. So as you're working through it for the 90 days, outside of those 3 live virtual sessions, you'll also have bi-weekly sessions. They'll be on a Tuesday, Tuesday at, I think they're going to start at 6 p.m. or 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then you'll be able to ask whatever questions that you need to ask for those 90 days. So this is, again, a way for you to get that. In addition to the Signature Talk Experience recordings that you'll get, in addition to the bi-weekly calls, you'll also get access to some other programs inside of our Speaker Moguls University. So our Get Paid to Speak online incubator, which will get you all the foundations that you need to go from speaking for free to speaking for a fee. You get our trainings on positioning yourself for profit as a speaker. There's one, then you also get our training on speaker branding, because branding is very important. That's one of the things we'll talk about tomorrow too, in terms of how to leverage your talk with your branding. So you get all of those things together for the 90 days for the lab. It's called the Lab Signature Talk Experience. And the investment, you have 2 options. We have a pay in full option and we have a payment plan option. So the pay in full option is $5,000. So if you pay in full, you'll be done for the 90 days. It's $5,000. The payment plan is $2,000 a month. So for the 3 months, you would pay $2,000. And all you have to do is go to www.thestelab.com. So unlike Thought Leader Circle, where you have to go in and apply, you do not have to submit an application for this. You can just go right to www.the S as in Sam, T as in Tom, E as in, or S as in signature, T as in talk, E as in experience, lab.com. And I've put the link in both Zoom and in Facebook. And you can go there and sign up. So it'll be 5,000. The investment, again, is 5,000 painful, or 3 months of $2,000 per month. And you will get immediate access to all of the positioning trainings, the speaker branding trainings. You'll see the Signature Talk Experience trainings, but you won't be able to get into them yet. And the reason that we did that is because we want to make sure that we first do your onboarding so that you understand what it is that you need to do. Because I think we know that if you jump in right away, it can probably, you'll be like, wait, what am I supposed to be doing? So we will give access to you when you need access to that. So we'll do your onboarding. Once we do your onboarding, you'll get access to the whole foundation piece. Then we'll do your live foundation. Then you'll get access to the remaining portions of the Signature Talk Black Print. But the foundation is essential to developing it. So we want to make sure that we get that, really get that done before we put you into the other pieces of the Black Print. So that is our offer that we decided to really think about how we can pull you in and give you the foundation that you need in order to move forward into Thought Leader Circle, where we really do a full service around helping you to develop your level of authority, and also, go out there and package and pitch and present and price your services, and so that you can build your expertise-based business, whether you want to do that as a full-time speaker, a part-time speaker, or you want to just do it so that you can generate leads, right, to build some other type of business, a coaching or consulting business. So That's 90 days, right? The lab, Signature Talk experience. You get the 90 days of bi-weekly sessions. You will get access to our entire Signature Talk black print with the accompanying videos that walks you step by step, A through Z, and you will have access to that even beyond the 90 days, right? So walk you step by step through that process. You'll have access to the positioning, your way to profits videos, which is around positioning yourself to help you understand how to really position yourself and elevate your authority. You'll have the trainings around speaker branding, and you'll also have the trainings around the foundational things that you need to do to go from speaking for free to speaking for a fee. So again, the investment is $5,000. And if you want to do a payment plan, it is three payments of $2,000. And you can go to www.thesteelab.com. So now I'm going to open it up, see if we have any questions. I know we have somebody in Zoom with me, and I see that we have a couple of people on Facebook. So does anybody have any questions about what I talked about today in terms of the Signature Talk, or about joining the lab? This is a great opportunity. The lab is a great opportunity to get you started and get you in momentum, right? So that you can really see what is possible for you instead of just thinking about how do I get paid to speak, actually doing the thing that you need to do in order to get you paid to speak. So any questions from anyone, I'm happy to answer. And if you're watching this on replay, make sure that you drop your questions in the comments. And again, it's thesteelab.com is where you will find the information about what's involved, what courses you'll get, and also to be able to make the investment. So any questions? If no questions, I'll count down from 10 because I want to give you time, because I know sometimes these chats. And if you want to DM me, so if you have if you want to DM me, that's fine too. If you have a question that you don't want to ask out in the public, but otherwise, I hope to see you all in the lab. And I hope to see you in the lab or in Thought Leader Circle. If you're like, no, I just want to go all into Thought Leader Circle, then you can go to, I'll put that in here too. It's Apply for TLC. So that is Thought Leader Circle. That's the full 12-month program. And then if you want to apply for the lab, that is the 90-day program. So, all right, let's count down from 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, well, thank you for joining me today. And again, if you think of a question later, let me know. I'll be back tomorrow at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time so that we can finish our conversation around Signature Talks, how important they are, and especially tomorrow talking about the simplicity, the branding, and what else we're going to talk about tomorrow about your presentation. So have an amazing day. Again, go to www.thesteelab.com for the 90-day program, or apply for TLC.com for the 12-month program. You're welcome, Geraldine. I will see you again tomorrow. Have a great day.